Jungle Cruise is the latest movie from Walt Disney Studios. It stars Dwayne Johnson and Emily Blunt and is directed by Jaume Collet-Serra. All aboard! Before we get this journey underway, don't forget to buckle up. You might find yourself falling down into the comment section, and that's a place you really don't want to be. While you're here, don't forget to hit that like button down below. It does wonders in boosting my content and my ego. If you really feel the need to boost yours as well, you could hit that dislike button, but I really ask you not to do that because my boat might get sunk by the algorithm. And if you haven't already, don't forget to stamp that subscribe button and ring that notification bell if you'd like to join me for more cruises down the YouTube stream in future and keep my tip jar filled every month. At that, let's get this cruise rolling. Intrepid researcher Dr. Lily Horton travels from London, England to the Amazon jungle and enlists the questionable services of wisecracking skipper Frank Wolf to guide her downriver on his ramshackle but charming boat. Lily is determined to uncover an ancient tree with unparalleled healing abilities, possessing the power to change the future of medicine. Thrust on this epic quest together, the unlikely duo encounters innumerable dangers and supernatural forces, all lurking in the deceptive beauty of the lush rainforest. Alright guys, if you have been watching me here on YouTube or been following me on social media or listening to my podcast or any of that, you know that I have been super hyped for Jungle Cruise. This has been like my most anticipated movie of the year. I have been hotly anticipating this movie along with all of you for the best part of like 3 or 4 years now. This was originally supposed to open up in 2019. It got delayed into 2020 at the last minute. And then of course the pandemic hit and the movie got delayed and delayed and delayed again and then pushed into 2021. And as fate would have it, on the week that my local Disney arm had organized a media screening, preview screening for the movie, we got thrown back into lockdown, but thanks to the incredible team over at the Walt Disney Company Australia, they were able to pull through and give me a chance to see this movie so I can talk about it with you at the time that the review embargo opens up to the world. So let's talk about Jungle Cruise. You guys know I love my Disney, but I'm not just a huge admirer of their animated works. I absolutely love their live-action fantasy feature films, and I'm talking about stuff way back to the Zorros, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, Mary Poppins, Tron, The Black Hole, and of course, the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise. The first Pirates movie opened up when I was in very late primary school and became one of my favorite franchises of all time. It still is. I adore all of the movies. And ever since they stopped making those movies, like what, 5 or so years ago, there's been an enormous hole in my life. A big pirate-shaped hole. And I've just been waiting for another Pirates movie or another just fantasy movie that lives up to those movies for me. Could Jungle Cruise be that one? Could Jungle Cruise be the Disney fantasy that I've been waiting for all of this time? In short, absolutely. Jungle Cruise is a bright, vibrant, energetic, exciting movie of the kind that we really don't see on our screens anymore. You know, I do joke around and I say that this movie has filled the pirate-sized hole in my life, but you know, to be completely honest, this movie is coming in and filling in this hole in the cinematic landscape. I mean, we just don't get these good old-fashioned fantasy action-adventure movies anymore. I mean, apart from like maybe the superhero stuff, which I absolutely love, there's just classic, stripped-back kind of pulp fiction stuff we really don't get anymore. Look, it is really easy to compare this movie to Pirates of the Caribbean. Of course, they're both live-action, family, fantasy, pulpy adventure movies from Disney. They both spawned from Disneyland attractions. But I feel like it's kind of maybe a little bit too easy to compare the two because there's so much thrown into this. This movie is not just, you know, a spiritual kind of follow-up to the Pirates films, but it's also a love letter to just pulp fiction and pulp movies in general. There's stuff in here that throws back to, you know, the earliest pulp heroes like Alan Quatermain and Buck Rogers and Doc Savage. There's stuff in here that throws back to movies like The African Queen with one of my idols, Humphrey Bogart. Movies like Romancing the Stone, Indiana Jones. It's all in here. Look, and as much as we compare this movie to previous IP gone by, I feel like it's kind of maybe a disservice to do that too much because this movie actually, it does make enormous strides in being unique. I mean, despite being based on a decades-old Disneyland attraction, and it does port over certain characters and situations and gags and all that kind of stuff, this still does feel like an original movie. I would consider it a non-IP film at its core, and that's really what I wanted from this, and I'm so glad that it really did achieve that. So I just want more stuff like this. I want more non-IP, again, I use that term very loosely, but I want more non-IP, high fantasy adventure stuff from Disney. Studios need to take more risks like this, because the Pirates movies proved, and once again, Jungle Cruise proves, that when you get all those right chemicals together, it absolutely works. I know this movie got delayed a couple of times, but I kind of feel like the release of this is quite apt right now. I know we've all been banning around this saying, this last year, saying, this is the movie we need right now. I think it feels truer for Jungle Cruise than maybe anything else so far. Maybe it's just landed at the right time, for me anyway. Here in Melbourne, we've just gone into our 5th lockdown. I've been handling it so far. I mean, we got to do the right thing. We got to, lock that. We just got to trample this virus or whatever else. Got to do what we got to do to get through. But I'm really feeling this 5th one. It's just like, at this point, it's exhausting. And having a movie like Jungle Cruise come out, something that is so new and so fresh, but feels so classic and just like a real warm blanket, having this right now is just so perfect. Of course, we've got Dwayne Johnson and Emily Blunt in this movie, and I think both of them are two of the hardest working people in Hollywood right now, and their chemistry in this movie is so great. Each of them deliver a really fantastic performance, but it really is the chemistry that keeps this movie bubbling. The Disneyland attraction is filled with puns, and that of course translates over into the movie. And the way that both of these performers deliver these puns and in like such a dry and kind of sarcastic and cheesy way just really makes this movie. And that's what this movie's all about. It's about embracing those eccentricities and the electricity and the just fun, cheesy atmosphere that comes along with these kinds of stories. I mean, this movie never takes itself seriously, not once, because it knows inherently that these kinds of stories were never meant to be taken seriously. They were fun, they were campy, they were cheesy, and that's the great part of them. And that's what I feel really draws an audience towards them, because they are just such a fun time and nothing else. It's not the kind of movie that you have to sit down and think about. It's a movie that you just sit and you just go along for the ride, pardon the pun, and just enjoy. I'm not one to sit here and nitpick like the most benign things, but if there was anything in this that kind of maybe didn't quite work for me, it was maybe some of the CGI work was maybe a little bit wonky. I know that's such an easy it's such an easy out to kind of, bag out on CGI or whatever. Dwayne Johnson's character, Frank, he owns this big African cat, and some of the CG work on the cat maybe just a little bit wonky, and maybe some of the like more fantastical creatures and stuff I just felt a little bit off. If you think back to the original Pirates movie, the kind of CG work that was done in those, not bad at any extent, because that CG work in those original Pirates movies was groundbreaking stuff from ILM back in the day. But it kind of feels like,
we've gone back maybe 20 years and the CG kind of reflects the kind of CG we got in those Pirates movies. I don't know, maybe that was intentional. Maybe it just maybe the movie had like this kind of vintage feel. I don't know. But if there was anything that maybe took me out of the piece just a little bit, that's it. At the end of the day, though, I love this movie. This was everything I really wanted out of Jungle Cruise. Everything and more. You get excited for something like this, but then you also tell yourself, don't get too excited, because it's never gonna match up to, that stuff that you grew up with. It's never gonna be the same as that first Pirates movie that you saw when you were like 11 or 12 years old. But Jungle Cruise gets very close to that for me. I absolutely know that this is a movie that I'm gonna be revisiting over and over again. I revisit the Pirates movies once every 1 or 2 years, and I know that when I do that, I will be following them up with Jungle Cruise every year as well now, because man, this movie is just so much fun. And at that, I am so happy to be giving Jungle Cruise a 4.5 out of 5.
Disney's Jungle Cruise has filled the pirate-sized hole in my life and left me begging the studio for more lavish non-IP, a term I use pretty loosely, pictures like this. A good old-fashioned, fun and exciting pulpy romp with charismatic leads and electric high fantasy action-adventure that fits right alongside the classic Disney adventures we all grew up with. Jungle Cruise will open in Australian cinemas as of the 29th of July 2021 and then will open in theatres across the US and the UK from the 30th. It'll also be available to view on Disney Plus with Premier Access as of the 30th as well. Thanks to everybody out there for watching this video. If you have enjoyed this one, I have been Dave and this has been Dave Lee Down Under. If you haven't enjoyed it, I have been James and this has been Mr. Sunday Movies. Once again, thanks to the incredible team over at the Walt Disney Company Australia for organising a screener for me to view this movie early, and thanks everybody out there for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Take it easy and stay safe and enjoy the movie. See you later. Hey everyone, if you haven't yet, smash that big old subscribe button up on your screen to keep up to date with all my content and hit that like button down below. Also, don't forget to check me out on social media and please consider supporting me over on Patreon for as little as $1 a month for exclusive videos, early access content, and to get your name up on the screen. Thanks again for watching.